Hello, welcome to Thread Therapy. Today we're going to learn how to make this coaster set. So this is made out of 100% cotton yarn. It's important that you use the cotton because anything synthetic is not going to absorb the moisture that's running off of a glass. So yeah, this was, what do they call this? Sugar and spice cotton yarn. I'm going to be using this synthetic yarn here for demonstration purposes only because it's thick and fat and it shows up better on camera. So I'm going to go ahead and get a starter knot here. There we go. Okay, and we are going to be working in the round. So that means we're going to chain 6. And then we're going to loop it around, slip stitch into that first stitch to make a loop. Alright, so now we have a circle, and we're going to put 12 double crochet in that circle. And as we go, this tail yarn, I'm going to work it in underneath my stitches. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 3. You probably get away with a chain 2, but because it gets so scrunched up on here when you're doing it in the round, I like to do an extra stitch to start with. Yarn over, and then we're going to do first double crochet into the loop. I see this yarn is going to be hard to get along with. Alright, so there's 2 because we're going to count that starting chain as a double crochet, so we have to do 10 more. That's why you got to make sure you chain enough to start your loop so it's big enough to hold all of these stitches. And because this is big and fat, it's going to be an exaggerated version of what it really would be. These right here, you could probably make these with a size H hook and a worsted weight cotton yarn. And you're probably going to have to scrunch them around on that circle to make room. That's 6. Alright, let's stop and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Make 3 more. Ten, 11. 12. Alright, now we're going to slip stitch into that top stitch of that chain 3. Now, do you see why now? Let me get a little closer. It was important to do a chain 3 at the beginning. It gets kind of congested right here with all these stitches, and it's just easier if you have more to work with on that starter chain. So I'm going to slip stitch into the top of it. Alright, so now we have a little circle. Let's look at the back. Alright, remember we worked that tail thread in underneath our stitches, so you can go ahead and cut that. So as you expand out on your circle, you have to add stitches in order to keep it flat. So on round 2, we're going to put 2 double crochet in each stitch. We started with 12, so on round 1, so when we finish round 2, we'll have 24. So let's do that together. Alright, let's see. Chain 3, and then in that same stitch, I'm putting another double crochet right where that chain 3 came up. Okay, so see, There's 2 stitches there. So let's proceed around. This yarn is really hard to get along with. Okay, so while we're working around, putting 2 stitches in each stitch on the first row, let's have a little chat. I wanted to talk about speaking to people. There is a lot of trouble in the world today. I think people have more issues to deal with now, personally, than they ever had to in the history of the world. And a lot of people can't handle that. There's a lot of troubled, hurting people in the world. And one thing we can do to help each other along is just speak to each other. Just the simple act of speaking to somebody, you just don't know what impact that will have on their life, let alone on their day. So if you're at work and you're walking through the hall and you pass somebody, don't just pass them. Look them in the eye and say, "Good morning." You just won't believe what that'll do for you and what it might do for that person. They could literally be in a really bad place in their mind, and you could literally save somebody's life just by caring enough to speak to them. So that's just a little tidbit there I thought I'd throw out. And you never know what kind of friendships can start just by saying hello. Let's see here. Almost finished with this round. Alright, so let's count before we do our little slip stitch and make sure we have enough stitches. Alright, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we're good. Alright, so we're going to slip stitch to the top of that first chain 3. Now, if while you're working you see it doesn't lay flat, just add more stitches into the previous row. You don't want to put too many stitches because then it'll start curling up, but there's just the right amount. So we're only going 3 rounds on this coaster, and the 3rd round is going to be a little bit different. The way that goes is the pattern is double crochet, 2 double crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet. So it's going to go 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way around. You don't want to put double the amount of stitches because it'll curl up like a frill. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it together. So right in that same stitch, we're going to put another double crochet. Alright, so we did 2 double crochet in the first stitch. Now we're only going to do 1 in the next. Okay? Now the next stitch we'll have 2 double crochet in that same stitch. And then the next stitch we'll have 1. See what I mean about 2, 1, 2, 1? And you just do that all the way around. Now, if I want to do more rows than just 3, you can make this big enough and make it into a placemat. you just do the same thing like we're doing on round 3, I'm sorry, but you just add an extra stitch. So the 4th round would be 2 double crochet in one, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2, and just add it as you go up. Then it'd be 2 and then 3 and then 2 and then 4. It gets kind of tricky the farther out you go like that, because sometimes just to get it to lay flat, you have to go against the pattern and add some extra stitches, but that's okay. Anything to make it lay flat and look right. Plus, it's your work, and if you mess up, that's okay. Unless you're like me and just knowing that you did that little stitch wrong, you have to go back and rip it out. I know, right? Get over it. All right, so we're still doing 2, 1, 2, 1. I'll put that formula down at the bottom, and I'll also put a pattern on Ravelry so that you can see that. All right, I'm going to finish this round, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to do the edging. Okay, so I've gone all the way around. I ended with 2 double crochet in that stitch, and it gave me 35 stitches. But I'm not going to worry about it because it's laying flat. It looks great. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. Okay, now for these little coasters, I finished off and I attached a different color, contrasting color there, and you can do the same thing with yours. But just for instructional sake, we're just going to keep working in the same color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet in that same stitch I just came out of. And what we're going to do, we're just going to do a chain 3 single crochet edging all the way around. So I've got my single crochet. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip 1 stitch and single crochet into the next on that round. Okay, so it leaves that little loop. Kind of gives it a soft look. You don't have to do this. You can just leave it straight edged if you want to. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. All right, skip that one. Single crochet in that one. All right, now let's just keep going around. 1, 2, 3. Okay. After a lot of long thought about how I want to do my videos, it's called thread therapy for a reason. Now, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not anything like that, but I do believe that life experience gives you a right to speak out about certain things. So we'll just have us a little chat every now and then. Now, be advised, anything that we talk about on here is not to be construed as any kind of medical advice or financial advice or legal advice, nothing like that. We're just talking. It's just opinions, you know. And if we can say something that might help out a fellow human, get them through a rough patch, well, I think it's our responsibility to do that. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to talk about controversial things or anything like that. We're just going to talk about, like we did on the previous round, about just speak to people. You know, that's something simple everybody can do. It's not going to hurt anybody. Hello. How are you? See, in the South, there's a rhetorical question. People will say, how are you? Well, they don't really mean, how are you? It's just a rhetorical question. It's a greeting. It's like, hello. But what I've found is answer the question. And then you'll get into conversations and make new friends. How you doing? Oh, well, I've been doing all right. How you been? See, it just grows from there. We're almost all the way around here. Almost to the finish line. Ooh, we're going to end on a perfect amount too. Yay. 1, 2, 3. And then you just slip stitch to the top of your first single crochet. There you go. Isn't that pretty? And like I said, you can grow this as big as you want it. I'm not going to finish it off because that's my instructional yarn. And there is coasters.